Time is now 5 p.m. on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. Calling to order the meeting of the Warwick School Committee for the month of December. If everyone please rise, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. On to one of the fun parts of the meeting, recognitions, beginning with our employee spotlight as presented by Ms. Ruggieri.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the school committee. Again, I say this every month, but this is the highlight of our month, looking through and seeing these peer-nominated accolades to members of our faculty and staff. So please join us in celebrating the following people. And if you're here, we ask that you stand so we can acknowledge you. So first up, we have Ann Palumbo, Secretary at Holloman Elementary School. Kathy Gillette, Special Educator at Lippett Elementary School. Jamie Ferretti, Student Assistance Counselor at Pilgrim. Danny Smith, Principal at Scott Elementary. Lindsay Barker, Teacher Assistant at Windman Middle School. Sean McGee, English Teacher at Pilgrim. Matt Daly from the Maintenance Department. And last but not least, our Assistant Director of Capital Projects, Mike Iafredi. Congratulations to everyone, and keep the nominations coming.
Thank you, Ms. Ruggieri, and on behalf of the school committee, congratulations to all of our November employee spotlights. At this time, I'll turn it over to Principal McCombs to recognize Valerie Nadachi, who is being recognized as the Elementary Art Teacher of the Year for Rhode Island Elementary Schools. Mr. McCombs.
Jack, 1, 2, 3.
Hi.
How are you? Good evening, everyone. Valerie Nardacci has been the art teacher at Hoxie Elementary for the past 6 years. Mrs. Nardacci is an incredibly kind, patient, and caring person, and she does an excellent job teaching art at Hoxie Elementary. We're so incredibly lucky to have her. Ms. Nardacci does an amazing job of using differentiated instruction with special needs students. She often will give special time in her busy schedule for the special needs students. She has amazing patience with all students. She's very nurturing. Her demeanor puts the students at ease immediately, and she fosters a collaborative environment at Hoxie School. Mrs. Nardacci is always willing to go above and beyond, and she's an amazing team player at Hoxie. Valerie created an amazing mural on the wall at Hoxie to commemorate an amazing art teacher that we had in the past, Kim Markarian. The mural took several months and several hours after school to complete, and she collaborated with several other art teachers. We invited the entire Markarian family to Hoxie, and they were very honored and moved by this tribute, spearheaded by Valerie Nardacci. Ms. Nardacci always goes above and beyond while at Hoxie School. She organized a garden club, and this year we are collaborating with the URI Master Gardener program and the Farm to Sea program. Ms. Nardacci is always the first person to volunteer and spearhead any after-school event. We're so lucky to have Ms. Nardacci as our art teacher at Hoxie Elementary School, and I cannot think of a person more deserving of being selected as the Elementary Art Teacher of the Year for the state of Rhode Island.
I just also want to add one note that last week she was recognized at the Rhode Island Art Association award dinner. We participated with other artists, and she was awarded as well there. So congratulations, Valerie.
At this time, I'd be looking for a vote to go into closed session for discussion and/or action regarding those items of business exempt from open meetings under general laws of Rhode Island, RIGL 42-46-5, A1, A2, A4, A8, A9. Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We're in executive session. The time is now 6:16 p.m. Calling to order the Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 meeting of the Warwick School Committee. We apologize for being 16 minutes late there. Executive session ran a little late. At this time, I'd be looking for a motion to seal the minutes of executive session.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. There were no votes taken in executive session. We're now on to the public comment portion of our agenda. Individual comments will be respectfully limited to 3 minutes per person, with public comment not to exceed 45 minutes. Though the content of comments will not be restricted, it is the hope of this committee that citizens, committee members, and the administration alike will be respectful of each other's right to speak, tolerant of different points of view, and mindful of everyone's time. This public comment period is for agenda items only. A second public comment session is available later in the meeting for all other topics or concerns. Members of the public are permitted to speak during both public comment periods. Speakers are asked to state their name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Darlene Netko. I'm a lifelong resident of Warwick, a homeowner, a taxpayer, a voter. I graduated from Tollgate High School, so a long time ago. I've been teaching now for 37 years, so you can tell it was a long time ago I graduated. And I'm also president of the Warwick Teachers Union. And I have some questions about the value engineering list that was on the website, and it's on the agenda for today. I looked it over carefully, but I am not an architect, so maybe I missed something. I know at one point there was a discussion about removing the glass classroom walls and making them solid, whatever material Something fell over here. Whatever material that might happen to be of, I noticed there were some changes of material for classroom walls. The glass is not practical for a number of reasons, safety being the primary reason, but also just the natural distracted nature of students, no matter what the age. I can tell you, even in my windowless classroom with only the doorway as an opening, kids in the hallway like to try to poke their heads in to see if their friends are in there. And I have my class arranged so the students in the room can't see out into the hallway, so we don't have that part of the distractedness, but it would be good not to have glass walls. And I think at a previous meeting, when that topic came up, the architects did say that not having the glass walls would save money. And then there are a few items on here I had some questions about. Under Pilgrim, number 46, there was, it says reduce the clerestories. And if you do that, will that provide enough light in the area that they're supposed to be? Because I know a lot of the design in both of the buildings utilize,
30 seconds.
Utilize skylights and windows higher up in the walls in order to bring some natural light in. And then under Tollgate, I had a question about number 34, reduce the quantity of interior glazing at classrooms. I'm not sure what that means. Number 40, tennis courts, eliminate new courts and instead refurbish the 5 existing ones. Remember, they were in danger of falling over the cliff not too long ago, so I'm hoping they can be refurbished so they're safe. Number 49, eliminate main circulation spine clerestory windows facing east. And will there be enough light in the building if you do that?
Ms. Necco, if you could just round out your thought, please.
Okay, well, I have some other questions, like number 55, reduce the plumbing fixture count. Are we going to have enough bathrooms? All right, thanks.
Understood. Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public looking to comment? Any other members of the public looking to comment? Any other members of the public looking to comment? Seeing none. On to recommended actions, routine matters. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of public session November 13th, 2024.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Testa.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Backus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of executive session on November 13th, 2024.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Looking for a motion of approval of transfers December 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus. Seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Looking for a motion of approval of warrants December 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to announcements. Personnel is presented. Ms. Ruggieri.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the school committee. Tonight I have some retirements to put before you for approval. First, we say goodbye to Alan Brizio, science teacher at Pilgrim High School with 26 years of service. William Mahoney, elementary teacher at Oakland Beach with 25 years of service. Kathleen Leamy, elementary secretary at Warwick Neck Elementary School with 28 years of service. Timothy Charette, head custodian at the Career Center with 27 years of service. Nancy Porter, elementary secretary at Hoxie Elementary School with 31 years of service. Kathleen Wickham, elementary secretary at Sherman, 43 years of service. Gail Schoeninger, head custodian in the administration building in the Courier, 28 years of service. And Raymond Miller, heating and maintenance mechanic with 36 years of service. And again, as we do every time we have a large group like this, it's a cumulative 244 years of service for Warwick Public Schools.
Thank you, Ms. Ruggieri. I'd be looking for a motion to approve the retirements and resignations as
Move
presented.
approval.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. I have one resignation requiring an approval. Thomas Hertow, custodian at Windman Middle School.
Move approval.
Motion made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And one more vote, a parental leave for Tara O'Rourke, teacher assistant at Holloman Elementary.
So moved.
Move
Motion made by
Second.
Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Backus. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
And we have some people to welcome to the district. First, we have social studies teacher at Veterans Middle School, Maride Thompson. Kindergarten teacher assistant at Warwick Neck Elementary, Crystal Almeida. Special ed teacher assistant at Welk, Leah Corvo, Special ed teacher assistant at Warwick Neck, Christine Camacho. Teacher assistant at Oakland Beach Elementary School, Carrie Cunetta. And BIT TA, William Roberge, in district. And we welcome everyone to the district. We hope you have a good experience here with us. And also the coaches as presented in your packet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ruggieri. Welcome to everyone joining the district, and best wishes to everyone that is retiring. We are now on to donations and correspondence. We would like to thank, and I apologize in advance if I mess up this name, Lisa Rezemian. Lisa Rezemian, who donated books valued at $230 to Norwood Elementary School's library. So thank you very much to Lisa Rezemian. We're now on to adoption of policies. First one for the second read, policy ACA, final rule, Title IX policy and grievance procedure. Looking for motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next is the policy up for first read, IJN, artificial intelligence, AI use in draft form. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Testa.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Backus. Any comments or discussion?
Michelle.
Ms. Chapman.
We did receive a letter from the ACLU for discussion of this policy, but we were informed by the lawyer that we can go ahead and pass first read to maybe make adjustments for a second read.
Thank you, Ms. Kirby-Chapman. Do you yield? Great. Mr. Testa?
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Kirby-Chapman. I was, when I read through the policy today, I had questions, and two of the three areas I was questioning, the ACLU had the same concerns with, so I never knew I was a civil libertarian, but I must be. So I'd support it as long as we can make some of those recommended changes.
Thank you. Any other members of the committee looking to comment? Ms. Backus?
I have the same concerns.
All right. Any other members of the committee looking to comment? Seeing none. Looking to pass policy IJN, artificial intelligence, AI use in its draft form and first read. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. At this time, the first presenter is running just a few minutes late, so we're going to skip over and go to item number 2, discussion update. Warwick Special Education Advisory Committee, also known as WESAC, as presented by Ms. Cardillo.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Cardillo. I am a parent of a senior at Tollgate High School. I'm also the chairperson of the Warwick Special Education Advisory Committee. I'm absolutely delighted to be back at the school committee meetings, and I'm looking forward to attending on a regular basis for the remainder of the school year. So, for our next meeting, that meeting will be held tomorrow, Wednesday, December 11th, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Warwick Public Library in the small meeting room off the main hallway in the library. As part of that meeting, we have added to our agenda a regular speaker series that will be handled under new business. And for this month, the Center for Emergency Preparedness and Response from the Rhode Island Department of Health will be attending to discuss the Rhode Island Special Needs Registry, which was a request from the public during previous meetings. The Rhode Island Special Needs Registry supports members of our community that need extra help during a time of emergency. As we all know in this community, that could happen at moments that are unexpected, and it's always good to have a little bit of information in our back pocket. So we're looking forward to having them attend. For our January meeting, that will be held on January 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Warwick Public Library. All members of the public are welcome to attend, and we look forward to hearing your comments, feedback, and other ideas that you have for our special education community in Warwick. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Cardillo. Any members of the committee questions for Ms. Cardillo? Seeing none, we appreciate you coming out this evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, discussion update, FY 2025 monthly financial report and year-end review. Mr. Bowl.
I've provided everybody with the December monthly fiscal report. As usual, if there are any questions, please come to my office with those, and we will give you a timely response. I did want to give an update on some of the exercises we mentioned last month we would be going through with respect to fiscal year 25. We did send a request to budget managers to compile potential cuts that they felt like they could make for the second half of the year and submit to myself so that we could kind of quantify what we could cut or potentially cut in discretionary spending. The sum of those potential cuts is about $750,000 from all of the departmental budget managers. Also just wanted to mention that we took a look at what we spent in overtime between September, beginning of September and the end of October in fiscal year 24 compared to what we spent in overtime during that same time period in fiscal year 25. The average payroll, or the average overtime paid in a payroll run in fiscal year 24 was about $10,500, and that the overtime paid in the same period in fiscal year 25 is about $7,500. So we've been able to reduce overtime pay by almost 40% in fiscal year 25. Which, if we can maintain that pace for the remainder of the year, could potentially save the district about $200,000. So we're trying to manage things a little bit more tightly in order to see where we can find savings, and this is just another example of that. That's all I had for tonight.
Great. Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Mr. Testa.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bowl, I have one question, and it's on the requisitions for 5,000 and under, and I think this may just be a mistake on the data for the run. One of the items on there is single source disaster relief for $9,977. So that shouldn't have made this. So I don't know if it was just when it was run, the cutoff was not put in properly. Because that seems to be the only one that exceeds $5,000.
Yeah, I'd have to. Can I review and get back to you?
Yeah, fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Testa. Any other members of the committee? Ms. Backus?
I don't know if this is the place to say it, but there are some schools that are out of paper. And while I realize that there is an issue with paper with some staff, education is often paper-driven, and those schools need paper. So I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's really a need.
Yep, I would just say that we've been reviewing, so we've been meeting weekly as a central admin team to review the purchase requisitions that are out there, and paper is obviously one of the things that we've talked about. And I hear you. We'll put our heads together and send out some sort of communication on what the plan is for paper going forward.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Backus. Any other comments from members of the committee? I just want to thank members of the administration and Mr. Bowl for working very hard and diligently the past few weeks. I know it's been stressful. I did go before the City Council last Monday and did notify them that FY25 is looking like something that's going to be very difficult for this committee to kind of navigate through, and the administration as well. So I appreciate you guys getting creative, identifying possible solutions, and then managing this more tightly so that way we can come as close to as possible to a balanced budget in FY25. Everything going well with the financial assessment, and Ms. Brennan, who's assisting us.
Yeah, my department's been sharing a ton of data with her, and we've been in contact regularly. So, yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And for the public's knowledge, you sent over your preliminary FY24 budget for the first trial review with the auditors, correct?
Yeah, so the auditors do have our trial balance, so now they're sending us requests, which is routine, of different transactions, and we're just sending support back.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any other comments from members of the committee? Seeing none. We'll now move on to discussion update. Superintendent Danbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the school committee. The first topic I'd like to touch upon tonight is called Recess Rocks. I'm proud to announce that all 13 of Warwick's elementary schools are trained in Recess Rocks. We are officially known as a fully rocked district. There are only 12 fully rocked districts in the state. Recess Rocks in Rhode Island is a partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Playworks New England, and the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition. It consists of safe and organized play at recess that benefits the kids' bodies and minds. It positively impacts not only their physical health, but also their social relationships, emotional well-being, and academic success. I would like to give a special thanks to Corinne Wetherill, co-director of Rhode Island Healthy School Coalition, and Jesse Jasper, the Regional Partnership Manager for Recess Rocks in Rhode Island. I'd like to now turn it over to Patty Cousineau for more information.
Thank you, Superintendent Danbrook. We have with us tonight, I'm going to welcome up Jesse Jasper from Playworks here, and we also have Dr. Sabrina Antonelli, the principal of Norwood School. We are, as Superintendent Danbrook said, we are a fully rocked district. We're very excited, and we are going to be presenting tonight. You ladies can come up. We're going to be presenting tonight a poster. I'm going to let Jesse stand beside me and unveil. And Dr. Antonelli is going to accept the poster on behalf of all the elementary principals. Tomorrow at our elementary principal meeting, every principal will get one of these posters. We'll share it with the folks on stage, folks at home.
And Director Cousineau, I believe that every poster is personalized for each school.
Every poster is personalized. The school name is down at the bottom, and we chose Dr. Antonelli because they have been at the forefront of this initiative from the beginning, and they have actually recently added student ambassadors as well, which really brings a nice added piece for the kiddos at the school level. So we're going to spread the love and continue with this great program. I know Jesse has 4 quick slides for you as well, and you don't even need to get up with your new setup tonight. Our tech guys are going to show you a couple of slides that Jesse will walk you through.
Hi, my name is Jessie Jasper. I'm here from Playworks New England and Recess Rocks in Rhode Island. I just want to say a few words about what our program is. As Patty mentioned, Recess Rocks in Rhode Island is the product of the partnership between Playworks New England, Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Rhode Island. We are in our 10th year of the program. This is a free training program for school and recess staff, and it is designed to ensure that recess is a safe, meaningful, and healthy experience for every child. Over the past 10 years, we have trained over We've trained 124 schools, impacting over 44,000 kids. We have reached 33 districts and 9 charters. Right now, combined charters and districts, we are up to 25 fully rocked districts, which means districts or charter networks where all of the schools have been trained. And we're very excited to be celebrating Warwick today, as we have trained all 13 schools, starting with Warwick Neck in 2018, and then we had a wonderful cohort last year to round it out. One of the amazing things about the Recess Rocks in Rhode Island program is that as long as the program continues, schools that have been trained are eligible for ongoing support for free. It is a grant-funded program, so we are excited to continue supporting Warwick schools in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. The next topic, I'd like to give a shout out to Scott Elementary School. There's some great news because Scott is ranked number 38 among all Rhode Island elementary schools, so they're in the top 14% in the state. And among all the Title I elementary schools in Rhode Island, Scott is number 9. So keep up the good work, Scott School. And the last topic FAFSA. So the online FAFSA form is available to all students and families at fafsa.gov. And the department is processing submissions and sending them all to schools. Students who are planning for life after high school during the 25-26 school year are highly encouraged to fill out the form. It is critical to ensure that all students are completing their FAFSA to have a chance for financial support for their post-secondary education plans. Completing the FAFSA is a gateway not only to federal financial aid, but also grants, scholarships, and work-study opportunities. The last topic tonight is survey works. Students, parents, teachers took survey works. They take it every year. So as we look at this data, we determined to ensure that Rhode Island's education system meets the needs of all students. And I want to thank the students' education and the families in Warwick who continue to give us valuable feedback and are committed to ensuring our excellence in education. Survey Works helps us have a deep dive into school and classroom environments across Warwick to see what's working for our children and areas that need improvement. Parents, students, and staff are asked to complete the survey, as I previously stated. The information is used to help write the district strategic plan as well as each school improvement plan. Executive Director Dr. Taylor, Director Dr. Schultz, and Mrs. Murray will be doing a presentation highlighting some of Warwick's results at an upcoming school committee meeting. So we look forward to that presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any questions or comments from members of the committee for the Superintendent? Seeing none. We'll jump back up to item number 1, discussion presentation, high school projects presentation, as we are now joined by John Bates from left field.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, thank you for that presentation overhead. You can go to the next slide, please, if you could. So the focus of this presentation is to discuss the value engineering process that's been done, it's being worked on right now. But I show these plans only to remind us that although we're about to look at lists that include over 200 VE items, as we call them, each representing small modifications to the designs, the projects as presented at the last public forum still remain. Those plans that we showed you a few months ago are still intact, I can assure you. Yes, we've certainly had to find areas to save money over the last several months, but the items on these lists generally represent things that the building's users won't recognize, and to date we still haven't cut the program and to the program that these schools require to deliver 21st century education. And I'll just give you a quick design update. So as of this evening, we're in the process of producing new cost estimates on the next round of design documents, which we call the design development documents. And as I said last month, this is a more detailed progression of the design docs. In schematics, we confirm the sizes, the layouts of the buildings, as I said last month, but in design development, we're looking more at how the building gets put together. The new cost estimates are not going to be ready until next month, but again, we want to present tonight the list of VE items that the team has been developing for the projects to date. If you could please go to the next slide. So it's important to note that these list of VE recommendations were created and discussed by your full team of consultants, and that includes your OPM, your architects, their sub-consultant team, which is comprised of nearly half a dozen engineering firms, also your construction manager, and of course the district. And the purpose of the VE process is to find areas of savings that do not impact the functionality, the overall appearance, or the user's experience of the facility. So to describe what we're looking at, each school, as I said, has a list of over 100 VE items to date, and the first 80 or so items on each of the lists are shaded in gray, sort of like what you see up here in front of you. These items were proposed and reviewed during the last design phase, the schematic design phase, which was the basis for the last round of cost estimates, the result of which we reported to you a couple of months ago. You can see under the column called status, each item is labeled either incorporated, alternate, possible, or rejected. So incorporated means that it was included in the schematic design and is part of the last cost estimate. Alternate means it's currently separated from the base scope of the project, and if the bidding process works out favorably for us, we can bring that item right back into the project. Possible means that the team prefers not to incorporate at this time. The value of that item just doesn't quite justify the change, in our opinion, at this time. We'd only revisit and reconsider that item if it became absolutely necessary from a budget standpoint. And rejected means that it just doesn't meet the project's or the district's project requirements. And I do want to emphasize that it's not as if the team automatically just said, if it saves money, we're going to do it, right? If an item was approved, that means that there was a consensus amongst that full team that I just described to you, and we believe it brings value to the project. So I just want to point out a few examples of items. It's hard for you to see on the screen up here, but I can tell you that they're listed on what's called page 3 of the list, which is actually page 5 of this PDF document, if we're following along. I'll point to item number 74, which is called Remove Indoor Shooter Detection System. That's a rejected item, and I'm just giving examples here. Item number 78, Remove Irrigation from the Grass Athletic Fields, also a rejected item. It was determined by the team that if we're going to have grass athletic fields, we need to irrigate them. Item number 80, reduce auditorium seating. Similarly, we had discussed as a team and decided that that was not a viable solution from a value engineering standpoint. So I just wanted to point to a few specific items that, again, the team discussed thoroughly and concluded that these are not acceptable. And then I'll point us to the items shaded in blue, and these are at the bottom of each of the lists. These are items that the team discussed and approved for incorporation into the coming design development documents and cost estimates. So again, these will be worked into the design development documents, and they'll help form the basis of the next round of cost estimates in January. I will refer specifically to one example on this list. Again, just an example. It's on page 6 of the document, page 4 of the list. It's item number 101, reduce structural design by ½ a pound per square foot. And I think the committee could look at that, or anybody could really look at that and say, gee, is the OPM suggesting we compromise the stability of the building by reducing the structural design? But no, that's actually a recommendation that came from your structural designer, who happens to be a nationally recognized firm. And it's the type of design refinement, not a cut, but a refinement that would typically come at this stage of design development. So I intended to spare the committee tonight from going line by line for throughout over 100 technical items. But I just wanted to summarize it, saying again, these lists are the results of many months of review and close to a dozen of your consultants, and they represent good value and cost savings that don't sacrifice the functionality and the quality of the buildings, in our opinion. So, thank you.
Thank you. We'll hold off on questions at this time, given that later on in the agenda, items 7, we have 7A and 7B on these two that we would be taking action on. So thank you, Mr. Bates, for your presentation. Now on to item number 5, discussion update, capital and construction project status update, Mr. Gothberg.
Good evening, Chairman Galligan, Superintendent Danbrook, committee members. I'll go over quickly where we stand with our projects. Over at Windman, we've been having some control issues that have been popping up, so we're having a meeting tomorrow with all involved, the contractor, Delta, and their control subcontractors, and we're going to go over, we're going to shake this out and get to the bottom of it. That's just an update on that. Over at Greenwood, final punch list has been completed by the architect this past Friday. The contractor is to start addressing these items ASAP. Bookshelves are arriving to WB Mason this week, and installation to be scheduled once we confirm possession of those bookshelves. Over at Warwick Neck, again, the punch list was completed by the architect. Contractors working on all the items. Department of Justice came in and inspected and approved everything yesterday. The final alarm inspection was completed this morning. The fire alarm superintendent, in his wisdom, added 5 more devices that we had to put in above the ceiling. He had a difference of opinion with the engineers. He is the authority having jurisdiction, so we will reinstall those. The elevator inspection was performed last Wednesday, passed. We have certificate is in place, and we're pleased so far with the project. We do have a pretty good punch list, but we'll be hitting that over the next week or so. Over at Oakland Beach, all punch list items are completed. We have one bad computer board on one of the rooftop units, and we are waiting for delivery of that. That has caused some low temp issues, and we're waiting for that. As soon as it comes in, it will be installed and hopefully take care of that. Window installation has restarted. The way we're going to do that is we found that these windows are on the front of the building. They're the large windows, one room at a time. We found that when we try to do 2 windows at a time, it's not working. So Friday afternoons, we will take out the windows, board up the opening. Saturday, come back, install the windows. So it's going to take a little longer than we had anticipated. We had hoped to have all windows in by the end of December, but it's looking more like end of January. But this way we know it's going to be done right, not rushed. And the reason that's taking so long is the brickwork that we're doing that was done on an emergency basis. Water was penetrating that brick, trickling down into the window openings, and we found a ton of rot in the wood blocking that holds the windows in place. So now that the next item is that the brick is complete, with the storm coming tonight and tomorrow, we're very happy that no more water in the building. So that is done. The roof was actually completed today. They're going to start taking the staging down tomorrow, so that brick facade work is complete. At Green, the punch list is completed by the architect, and the contractor is working on all items. The kiln rooms, we walked through the day before yesterday with the architect, minor items. Contractor is going to work on those. The architect and the engineers will submit their affidavits to the building department. Hopefully the contractor received those from the engineers today, and we're hoping either by the end of the week or Monday, we'll finally have kiln rooms ready to go and be able to be used. Over at Holloman, rooftop units are in place. Connections are being made down below to those units as weather allows. Windows are still scheduled to be shipped 12/13. That's even 2 days earlier than I thought, because I know this list I have 12/15, but I got the notice today it's 12/13. Electric switchgear is scheduled to be shipped mid-January, 2 months earlier than original planned, and project is still substantially ahead of schedule. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from members of the committee for Mr. Gothberg?
Thank
Seeing
you.
none? Thank you, Mr. Gothberg. We are now on to item number 6, discussion update, high school project update. Mr. Bates. There was a presentation.
This will be a brief update. So last month at the last committee meeting, I had said that we would likely have a draft of a project labor agreement in place that we could present to the committee. That is not the case this month. That has been still under review by the trades, and we'll likely have that the following month in January to present to the committee. We are currently working with our environmental engineer, Ty and Bond, who is currently producing a not-to-exceed cost for Phase 2 soil contamination exploration on both sites. As I said, I think at the last meeting, we don't think that there are any significant, just based on their public records research, any significant contamination on the sites, but we still have to verify by actual testing. In order to do that, that's going to take some excavation and some test pits. The cost of which we will know this month, and we'll report to the committee what that is. One thing we reported to the building committee last week is there is a bit of a change to the project schedule. And again, we refine the project schedule on a monthly basis with the assistance of our construction manager, Dimeo, the architects, and the OPM. It's a collaborative process, so it does evolve over the course of the project. But we're currently tracking a slight change to the project schedule in the amount of probably 7 to 8 weeks in total. So we've been saying that we expect to break ground on March 3rd, based on the fact that we've had to do some significant value management, as we had just described earlier, and a total redesign of the toll gate building. That does eat away some of the time in the schedule, and so that is pushing us again, probably depending on the school, between 6 to 8 weeks, closer to the beginning of May as a construction start time. But fortunately, our construction manager has taken a very close look at the schedule and thinks that there's enough float, as we call it in the business, that we can squeeze the schedule and not impact really the mid date of construction nor the project delivery. So we'll continue to track delivery of the project in September of 2027, as we always had. That being the case, we had talked about escalation being a factor if we were to delay the project, but that would be the case if the entirety of the construction duration were to shift backwards. But in this case, that's not what we're looking at right now. As I said, Dimeo is condensing their schedule, so the final construction delivery target remains the same. If that were to change, to slip any more, then yes, I think escalation would start to take a more meaningful concern. But right now, we're in okay shape there. But I did want to let the committee know that that is something we're tracking, and if anything changes, we'll bring that to your attention next month.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. Any comments or questions from members of the committee? Mr. Testa.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. Just, and I'm not going to pin you down on numbers because I'm not going to do that. But is it safe to say, would I be accurate in saying that what you're finding is, as this project goes along, that the costs are moving in the right direction? They're moving actually slightly lower than what we would have, what we saw a month ago, 2 months ago?
It is safe to say that things are trending downwards for the good. I can't speak to you with specific numbers at this point, but yes, and as the details continue to be refined, it's looking better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So when
Ms.
you
Hazelwood.
when you say that the costs are trending downward, is that because of the value engineering that's taking place, or is that because?
It's a combination. It's a combination of the value management, and also, again, I think it's a refinement of the designs. So, you know, when you start out, the estimates tend to be more conservative. As the architects continue development of the drawings, more of the details get flushed out, and we can really kind of take a closer look at what we really think is the true cost of the building. It's just a natural progression through the process.
So trending downward goes along with cuts that we're making. Is that correct?
Yes, but I prefer,
It's cuts. It's cuts. I have to say it the way it is. It's cuts.
Sure. I mean, if you term them cuts, then yes, but I call it value management. But
I know.
It is a combination of design refinement and the cost savings that we are implementing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hazelwood. Ms. Backus?
You call it value management, but I call a spade a spade. And I call value management a lie. Because you're not managing any value for our kids. Because you're making things smaller, you're taking things away. And you know what, that's not going to work for this city. Tonight's my last night as part of this committee. You might be glad for that. But value management does not manage value for our kids and our kids' needs. And taking fields away and taking space away and taking parking lots away and things like that does not work. Doesn't work for me, doesn't work for this city, doesn't work for our kids or our families. And that's what we need to consider. And we need to do it right the first time, because we're not going to have a second time. And we need to give the people in this city what we told them we were going to give them, and not cut. And cutting ceiling space, that's not cool either. So call it what it is. It's cuts, it's real. Value management is a farce. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Backus.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Testa.
I would respectfully and vehemently disagree with Ms. Backus's assessment, because I don't see that at all, and I don't want to start a whole discussion about that now. I just don't see that. That's all. I just don't see it, so I just disagree.
Thank you. Would it, Ms. Kirby-Chapman, do you have anything on this? You're good? Okay. Would it be fair to say that value management might not necessarily also be a cut, but let's say in the locker rooms, rather than doing a tiled floor, you might go with the poured epoxy floor, which, you know, could increase drainage and ease of cleaning, not having to, you know, worry about the grout and everything that's coming in off the field from phys ed or sports?
Yeah. That'd be a case where, and I think the district agrees here, the facility staff, where that's an improvement in a lot of ways. Their preference might be that the epoxy floor is easier to clean and easier to maintain, less grout lines that would build up mold and so forth. So yeah, that's certainly the case of a material substitution that brings value.
Okay. I have some other comments or questions on that relative to the value engineering items, but I'll wait. Relative to the construction process here, you stated we're still on track, even though physical construction will begin in May, site prep work in March. You had stated we're still on track for September of 2027. But my question is, you know, for the teachers, faculty, and all the staff, will we be ready for what was previously presented to us of a July, August time period for people to come in, move their belongings in, and get ready for the school year?
July and August will continue to be that move-in time window.
Okay.
So that hasn't changed. We will, and when I say we, it'll be the OPM team and the district facilities, and the construction team will probably coexist in the later part of the spring as the furniture and equipment gets delivered to the building, which is normal, and I've done that many times on other projects. But to answer your question, yes, July and August will be the move-in timeframe.
Okay, great. And less of a question, more of a comment for the public. The school committee will be hosting our third informational session on the construction of the new high schools. It's scheduled for January 28th at 6 p.m. It will take place here at Warwick Vets. And, one thing that I know members of the public have been looking for, we are going to publicize it as a forum as opposed to a regular school committee meeting. So we will be able to allow for questions and answers. We'll make sure that we have all of the appropriate people here. Certainly there'll be guidelines and there'll be time limits, but I just wanted to let everyone know that is out there and wanting to ask questions in public and on the record. This will be an opportunity. January 28th, 6 p.m., there'll be a small presentation from left field as to where they are in the project, what the next steps are, how we're doing in terms of budget and timeline, and then we'll turn it over to the general public for Q&A. Are there any other comments or questions from members of the public?
How does this impact
Ms. Backus.
the riot edicts of shovels in the ground and different steps?
Shovels in the ground you will see at the beginning of May. You might see in April some material items showing up on the sites, construction trailers and fencing and things like that as the mobilization starts to kick off, but actual excavation, shovels in the dirt will happen in May.
But does that still keep us in the timeline?
Yeah.
Because originally we heard
It does. As I said, fortunately, we have a great construction manager that's taken a hard look at the schedule, and they can absorb that on the front end of the schedule and not impact the latter part of the schedule. So we're still in good shape there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Backus. My last comment I forgot to make is I would be looking for, Superintendent, not to put you on the spot, but to Ms. Tedeschi, I would be looking to docket for the January agenda an update from the athletics department, as obviously the spring athletic teams would be impacted. So I would be looking for the athletics department from the administration to come and kind of present as to what the plan will be as we move into the spring season. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Funny jokes for Mr. Bates on this topic? No? Seeing none? We'll move into item 7, discussion action, school committee approval of high school value engineering items. We'll start with 7A. I'd be looking for a motion to move approval on the value engineering items for Pilgrim High School.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Testa. I'll second it. Any comments from members of the committee on 7A?
I think there are far too many cuts to spaces, to fields, to numerous issues, and I will not be voting in the affirmative.
Any other comments? Mr. Testa?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I think you have to look at these in great detail to see what exactly it is. Number 91, reduction in column lines and footings by modifying layout. Right? 90, pick one. 97, delete drainage underneath fields at grass fields. Engineer stated this was not required. That came out of testing. We did testing over where those fields were going, and the drainage is just fine, so there's no need to install drainage there. I don't consider that a cut that's one too many. One of them is scoreboards. We just replaced those scoreboards about 2 or 3 years ago. So why would we trash them to just buy a new one? I mean, it's not huge money. That's about $25,000, $30,000 a piece, but why would we trash them? Right? So, so there's a whole bunch of these things on here, and Mr. Bates addressed the probably one that'll get some potential traction on social media is reduce structural design by ½ pound per square foot. But that's engineer driven. That's not because anybody in the Warwick School Department decided, let's just cut that. So there's really nothing here that I would say, oh, this is ridiculous. This is draconian. It's just not here. That's all. Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the committee? Nope. I have a few on Pilgrim. And I'm actually going to be making a motion here that I hope my colleagues would support. I'm going to make a motion to add all the following items. Line item 19, modifying paths at athletics to reduce quantity, utilize bituminous material, but still meeting ADA requirements. My logic on this line item 19 is that I could see after significant rainfall these pathways washing out. I also, after seeing some of the renderings provided to us by Secotio and by SOM, that this complex might be something where people from the community will come and they'll walk throughout the complex in the evening hours to get exercise in addition to walking the tracks. So I want to make sure that those pathways are kept up. One of my colleagues made a comment that also the stone washes out and goes into the grass. So these are all fair challenges. So if funds are still available, if contingency is still available, number 19 is one I would definitely like to put back in on behalf of the general public. The scoreboard, I hear Mr. Testa, but I do feel that we do need the scoreboard, a newer scoreboard for that multi-purpose stadium. The one at Pilgrim has had numerous challenges, and poor Mr. Oliver has constantly had to get O'Neill Electric and other companies out there constantly keep fixing it. I believe we're well past the warranty on that unit, so it's a money pit. And it's certainly, we showed some great stuff at the presentations. Item 41, reducing quantity of bleacher seats in the gymnasium. I think this committee's been in agreement on all of that throughout the prior presentation. So 41 is one that I would want add all to back into this for Pilgrim. The next item would be 47, 48, softball fields and baseball fields, eliminating the press box. Those are two that I would also add to the add alt list. That's 47, 48. The next item that I was looking to add, Mr. Bates, can you just clarify real quick? Item 2, delete 5 feet of width in the academic wings at the core spaces. I'm trying to determine if I'm throwing that into my motion here as well.
That's at the Pilgrim building.
Correct, sir.
And those are those 3 appendages that you see on the eastern side of the building. The architects were able to sort of squeeze each of those appendages to get that square footage reduction. It still meets all code. It doesn't create any circulation issues, but it was a square footage reduction that the committee thought was good value.
Okay. I'm not going to add that one. I would also like to...
Excuse me, just may I have a question regarding that?
Do I finish the motion?
Okay, just one question. How is that space compared to the space at Pilgrim Hallways right now?
How is the...
In other words, you're cutting 5 feet. How many feet will there be? And compared to what they have currently at Pilgrim?
Yeah, it's not an apples to apples comparison in terms of what they have now versus what they're going to have. It was really, the building layout itself had enough sort of cushion in it, if you will, that there was square footage that could be reduced without really having any substantial impact, certainly not from a code standpoint or circulation standpoint. So they're really not losing anything that they have now. It's an entirely different building design and layout. And it would be the type of change that anyone who were to walk in the building, any student, any teacher would never know that it was changed. So,
having walked the hallways of Pilgrim, and there are a lot of hallways at Pilgrim, they're congested. There are major hallways that are congested. I know, I worked there. So I am very interested in knowing what the width of that corridor, these corridors will be. Because you may not think that, and it may be up to code, but for circulation purposes, it could be detrimental. So I would like to know that.
I'd like to, the architects are the best to speak to topics like this when we really start to get into the nuances of the design. But, I mean, we defer to them largely for decisions like this, and they felt strongly that this was a very good move to make from a value standpoint. So architects would never advocate for something that would compromise the building circulation anyway. So again, in terms of the actual corridor widths, I don't have the information at my fingertips, unfortunately, and I think that we should have the architects present that to you.
Thank you for answering the question the best you could.
Thank you. Mr. Testa, the scoreboard was which number?
I don't remember what number it was. I know it was on one of these, it may have been on the toll gate one, so I'm not sure if it was on the Pilgrim one. I was just using that as an example. It's on both. I just have to find it.
Mr. Bates, can you search that real quick?
Item 114 on the Pilgrim list, reuse existing football scoreboards.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go, colleagues. You ready for this? Get fired up. Here's my amendment. I'm looking for the following items. I'm making a motion to put the following items as add-all items back into the project. Item 19, modifying paths at athletic fields to reduce quantity. That's what I talked about with the stone washing out. Item number 31, reduce and eliminate mezzanines at the CT spaces. I think storage is going to be a real big issue in our facilities as we continue to reduce ceiling heights and square footage. So certainly, CTC programs are going to require a lot of materials, so they've got to have some space to store their items. Item 41, reducing quantity of bleacher seats in the gymnasium. Item 47 and 48, softball field, baseball field, eliminating the press box. Item 70? Yeah. Okay. I'm just
Mr. Bates, 47 and 48, those are still alternates, correct?
Yeah,
the status is alternate.
What does that mean, alternate?
Alternate means that it's been taken out of the base scope of the project, but we're still tracking it as an item that could potentially be in the project. So when it comes bid time, if the bids come in low enough that we have room within the budget, we would take it back into the project really easily.
I'm looking to use the term both add and all, because if it's already listed as an alternate, I wanted it back in as an add. Yep. Item 70, Pilgrim has an existing camera system in place. Can this be used? For reasons that I won't discuss publicly, the new camera system for a new facility is necessary. So that's item 70, Ms. Tedeschi, keeping up with me on that. And then item 114, reusing the existing football scoreboard. That's my motion. I would be hoping, and there's this a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. Any discussion on the motion to amend the value management items here before us for Pilgrim 7A?
I think there are those and more that I would look at.
Any other comments? I have a question. Ms. Hazelwood.
Number 118 and 119, what is delete pre-K playground structures and fencing?
I think Mr. Gothberg has an answer to that.
As right now, is our understanding, there are no children, pre-K children in that area. So we had planned to put a playground in, but since we don't have kids there, then we don't put the playground in now. We can put it in when they bring kids into that program.
Okay, I have a question that goes with that. Will the early childhood program for the CTC be housed there?
I believe that is correct.
Then we need the playground.
Okay.
So Would that be an amendment to the motion as well, or do we? We've got a motion, then an amended motion.
Yep. So that would be an amendment to the amendment, if that's something you're asking. Yeah.
Too many.
What we can do is we can pass the amended
Okay.
motion, and then if you want to come back, Ms.
Okay.
Hazelwood, and make a second amendment, we could do that as well. Probably cleaner.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none?
In line-
Ms. Backus.
Sorry, in line with Ms. Hazelwood's amendment to the amendment, the surfacing at the pre-K seed and loam is not appropriate. We don't have that at any of our elementary schools. Why would we have that in an area where our children are even younger and many are disabled?
Can you give us a number on that
Medically
list?
fragile.
120. Ms.
That would
Hazelwood,
be
you want to take that for your
number
motion?
120?
Thank you. Do you yield?
I yield.
Thank you. And you're keeping track of your numbers? Okay. Are there any other comments? So we have our motion, the amendment to the initial item on mine. All those in favor?
Could we,
Oh,
could we have a read back of that motion, please?
Yes.
all right. I'm making an amended motion. I'm making a motion to amend the value management items by requesting add all of item 19, 31, 41, 47, 48, 70, and 114. The motion was made by myself, seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Seeing none, the amended motion passes 5-0. And then, Ms. Hazelwood, I believe you wanted to make an amendment to that.
To reinstate 118, 119, and 120.
I would second that. Any discussion on the amended motion there?
Yes.
Mr. Testa.
It's a question for Mr. Gothberg or somebody in administration. The program either has or does not have pre-K age children in it.
That was our understanding when we removed that, but we'll double check that and we can take a look at that.
So, I mean,
some of the things that, if we look at number 70 is not cut at this point. It was a potential, it says possible. So that's still in. Okay, so it has not been taken out. All right, the cameras.
Yeah, we left that as add, not just passed. So we want to add that back in.
The motion stands as it is. If it was still in there, it remains in there. If it wasn't, it's the understanding is it comes in as an alt add. So now it's Ms. Hazelwood's for 118, 119, and 120.
Right,
with a second from
right. And
Sean.
my only question is if, I don't have a problem approving this, but if the program doesn't have pre-K students in it currently that are outside, then just reserve the right to come back and revisit it, that's all.
All set? Great. Miss Hazelwood, did you want to?
It always has had pre-K children as part of the program. They come in on a Friday usually. They use the playground. It used to be an enclosed space at Pilgrim. They've moved it since then, but if it's going to go back to Pilgrim, we have to have a safe area for these children and an appropriate play area. It's part of the curriculum for our students, and it's also right for those children who are participating in the program. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Hazelwood. Any other comments from members of the committee? Again, this is on Pilgrim 7A and the motion to amend made by Ms. Hazelwood on 118, 119, and 120, getting them added back in. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And now we need I'm looking for a motion to approve the motion that was made and the two amendments.
Motion to approve the high school value engineering items as amended twice with regard to building.
I wanted to discuss a couple of other issues that are in there
On
before we do that.
7A?
On 7A.
Okay, Ms. Backus.
Number 13 says eliminate basketball field and pickleball courts.
Ms. Backus, do you want to make a motion to amend Ms. Hazelwood's amendment now?
We could do that.
All right, so we got a third motion to amend. I'll second it. Go ahead, Ms. Backus.
Okay. Eliminate basketball and pickleball courts. Cut parking lots. 27 and 28, south and west. I would want to relook at that and make sure, I mean, you can tell me that there's going to be plenty of parking, but I want to see that before we pass it. The mezzanines.
Can I speak to basketball courts?
Yes.
Those are requested to be removed by the principals.
And the reason is?
Problems caused after hours.
Pickleball courts, and I have a possible idea. Pickleball courts could go in with tennis courts. We could draw lines for pickleball in our tennis courts.
That had been planned, but we also have to consider neighbor noise at Pilgrim. Those tennis, the tennis balls are quieter than pickleballs.
I understand that. Number 56, reduce mezzanine storage area. I think, like Mr. Galligan said, storage is going to be an issue. I'm also concerned about number, I think it's 71.
That's a possible, that's still in the project, the mezzanine.
Okay. The plumbing fixtures,
Those are by code.
I just don't want to see us have too few toilets.
No, we have to put as many as code requires.
Reduction in site lighting, reduction in site furnishings by 50%.
Ms. Backus, one second. Are you adding these back in at alts?
I'm asking questions.
Okay, I apologize. Because I'm Mr. Attorney Hennius over here was trying to keep up with the numbers. I'm like, is she putting them back? Thank you. Go ahead, continue on.
Reduction of site furnishings by 50%.
We believe they were over-designed. We're talking garbage cans, things like that. There were quite a few shown on the plans that really weren't needed.
Reduction of seating for spectators in baseball, softball, and tennis courts. I mean, right now we have virtually no seating, and that's an issue. And a lot of people show up, and I think a lot more people would show up if there were seating.
They are in as alternates right now.
Reevaluate theater. I don't want to see, we put a lot of money into sports and things like that, and we need to have similar or
What we
we
meant
shouldn't
by
be cutting theater or the arts or anything like that. That's just as important for our kids.
we agree, and what that meant was to talk to the end users to see what the needs and requirements were and desires.
Okay, it was my understanding that you did that already, but
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Backus. So, Attorney Hennius, were those just questions?
Those are questions.
So then, would you be with?
I have a question on the indoor shooter
Yeah, it was rejected. That's staying within
That's
it.
still in.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you yield?
I yield.
Okay,
Thank
you yield. So, was there technically a motion over there?
We did make a motion for discussion, but I think it was for just the questions. So my understanding is there's no motion on the floor to make any additional amendments.
Okay.
I wanted a question.
Oh,
before
all
I
right,
made a
perfect.
motion.
So
Thank
then,
you.
there's not an additional motion.
Not at this
Attorney Hennius, would you call the vote right now of what we're doing? It's a motion.
I actually don't believe we had a motion that
Yep.
encompassed the changes that you and Ms. Hazelwood both made. Ms. Backus made a motion for discussion purposes, essentially.
Okay.
With no follow-up action motion, so I think that the committee's free to move on.
Okay, so then it would be just a full vote on 7A.
I think you've already voted
to
full on
amend.
7A, as I understand it. Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
so we're on to 7B.
Okay, great. So at this time, I'll open it up to my colleagues for any questions or comments on 7B.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Testa.
Thank you. Mr. Bates, can you explain number 86? It says, reduce size of lower level, provide smaller building by CTC for this space. This reduces the amount of rock blasting and excavation. What's that part of a larger, this is part of a larger something?
Significant savings there. A lot of impactful items that are connected to that. So the proposal is to relocate the program that was going to be in that lower level area into a new modular building that's going to be connected to the existing CTC building. By doing that, we're saving building square footage, we're saving rock excavation, we're saving a retaining wall, and a roadway that would lead to that area of the building is now no longer needed. Substantial savings in regrading and earthwork.
And the program's getting more space.
In the program, as Mr. Gothberg just noted, is getting more space than it would have had if it stayed in that lower level area. So we're anticipating there to be substantial savings there.
And if I'm correct, I think that was discussed with the administration, the teachers in the programs, and everybody affected by that, and they unanimously agreed that that was a better idea.
Absolutely.
And that savings conservatively is a few $1 million.
At least.
Conservatively.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That's right.
Could you explain, number 111 says reduced interior glazing. Interior glazing, is that glass?
That's correct.
Okay. And number 112, it says simplify existing tennis court refurbishment. Just explain, Mr. Gothberg.
I'll take that one. What we ended up doing, the initial refurbishment was, like a structural slab, and that was suggested, but that was out without doing any boring. So we did several borings on the tennis court itself, and had the site engineering firm give a report on it, and they deemed that it's very stable, and that we can take the surface off, redo it, and it'll be fine.
So there was no need to relocate tennis courts or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments from members of the committee on this? Ms. Kirby Chapman.
Number 14, reduce the bleacher seating at stadium, so it's like by over half. You said incorporated.
I think that was already in the design that we saw last fall.
Can you guys answer Ms. Kirby Chapman on the reduction of seating from 1450 to 750?
Yeah, they have 250 seats now, if that. So we were looking for equity at both Pilgrim and Tollgate, so they both have 750. If you would like to increase, then you would have to increase both. If you look at Tollgate seating now, they have minimal seating.
It's awful, yeah. Yeah. 54 with eliminating the parking lot, the possible, with the CCTC. I thought we had barely any parking already at Tollgate.
Correct.
That's not, it's a potential.
We don't.
So so the lower parking lot would be eliminated?
No.
No, okay.
No.
What they're talking about, there's some work to be done refurbishing those lots. And
Oh, so you
it's
wanna
a
just
potential
redo it? Okay.
way to save money if we don't do that work.
Okay, okay.
Any other comments from members of the committee?
Yeah.
Ms. Backus.
Questions about reducing various corridors, number 8 and number 25.
Yeah, once again, that was a substantial width, and to save square footage, they just reduced that a little bit to save some square footage. And number 8. I believe that was when we changed the design of the building. We took out that whole corridor. That's it, back in August.
Number 18, eliminate visitor bleachers.
That was done at both schools with a band sitting between the visitors and home.
So they won't have any bleachers?
Everybody sits together but separated by the band.
Okay.
They do that at East Greenwich.
Reduce the size of the band room. 4,000 square foot.
What number was that?
Number 21. That's a lot of space, and they don't, those instruments are big.
These have all been reviewed with the teachers and administration at the schools. None of the square footage changes have been done without input from building administration or teachers, or at least department heads anyway.
Should be teachers. When we start cutting space, I start getting very concerned.
Remember that every square foot is a minimum of $600.
Understood. And this can either be a boon for the city or a boondoggle. I prefer to see a boon.
We all do.
Do you yield, Ms. Backus?
I yield.
Just want to say I love when you say that. It's almost like edification for someone else. Any other comments from members of the committee? Yeah. I have a couple questions. So reduce bleachers, that was already handled. Remove all movable furnishings, tables, chairs, picnic tables, provide through FF and E budget. Which FF and E budget?
That's furnishings, taking out of the construction budget and put it in what we call the furnishings budget. So we have a substantial furnishings budget, so we just move it there. There's enough money to handle that, and it gives us money in the construction budget, so we get more for the building itself.
So what's that go into, like soft costs, or is that a completely different category associated with?
Is that soft costs?
Yeah, technically it's soft costs.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that's not affixed to the building, we consider hard costs. Separate line item in the budget, outside of the, yeah.
Okay. Next, before I make my motion, reduce 34, reducing quantity of interior glazing at the classrooms. You did like number 100 or something. I'm looking at 34. That's getting rid of the glass on the classrooms there.
Reducing.
Reducing. Okay. Tennis courts, eliminating new courts instead of refurbishing the 5 existing courts. Has there been any study of those tennis courts?
Yeah, we did. We before we went through this, we did borings.
Okay. They're stable and.
Correct.
Okay, reduce plumbing fixture count 55, I imagine that's code like on Pilgrim, as you stated?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and then reduce quantity of skylights, where, like in particular?
Yeah, when we talk about clear stories, those are raised structures with glass to bring in light. So we just reduce the size a little bit, reduce steel costs, still plenty of light coming in. It was, as you know, RIDE is very big on glazing light. We reviewed them with them, and they were very pleased that we kept the clear stories, but shrunk them and saved some money.
I love that we can make RIDE happy.
Not
It's awesome. That's
we
great
have to
to
make
hear.
RIDE happy.
106, specify alternative window systems in lieu of just FCO. What's FCO?
FCO is a manufacturer. So when you put a bid package together, you have a basis of design, and then you list others that are acceptable. FCO, it was the basis of designs. We're looking at potentially putting the basis of design as potentially a less costly basis of design. So
All right.
specifying a different manufacturer perhaps.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this should be a little bit cleaner than the last one here. I'm looking to make a motion to amend the value engineering items for 7B to add all back in number 22, that being the walkways again, as I see people on the south side of the city probably walking the complex. So that was 22. 98 and 99, the football field, reusing the football scoreboard. I think that site needs a new one. The theater equipment being reused, it's my understanding that that's roughly 25 years old over there. So 99?
I think that was a possibility, right?
That was accepted. So
99?
Yeah, 99. So that's my motion. Ms. Tedeschi, you got those numbers, or you need me to go through them one more time? 22, 98, 99. Yes. Is there a
So
second
moved.
on that? Made by
Second.
Mr. Testa?
Yeah.
Comments
Discussion?
on the motion?
Yes. Did you add also the walkways to Windman Fields, number 101?
No. I'd like to add that in.
And in 103, they reduced the exterior lighting?
That's an FAA thing. We're still going through an FAA study, so we will not be the deciding factor on that. They will determine what height we can have field lights, and they determine what height and how many we can have of parking lights and those type of things.
And we haven't put in for that yet?
Are you all set,
I'm
Ms. Beck?
sorry.
One more.
Yes.
Storage containers for sports teams, is that they're going to get storage containers?
Yeah. He said
Bless you.
that would go into the FF&E.
Thank you.
No problem. Ms. Hazel, any other comments on that amended motion there? It would have the 101. 101. Yep.
101?
Any other questions or comments on that?
Not
Seeing,
on 101, no.
huh?
Not on 101.
Having 101 on the motion.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now I'm looking for a motion as to be made on the motion as amended.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Testa.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Backus. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Tedeschi, you good? Yeah. All right, now we should fly. Item 8, discussion action, change order, Allberg Construction, PO number 2500223, Green RIAA, as presented by Mr. Gothberg. I'd be looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. Any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
No, Mr. Gothrick, thank you. Next item we have before us is a discussion action. Discussion action, Council 94, Employee A, discipline, as presented by Ms. Ruggieri. I'd be looking for a motion to table pending receipt of additional information on the case.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hazelwood. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Mr. Testa. Thank you. That's a 4-1 vote. Next item, discussion action. Tongue twister here, Mr. Tedeschi. Discussion action, Council 94, Employee B, discipline. Looking for a motion to adopt the superintendent's recommendation.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hazelwood and Mr. Testa. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item, discussion action, contract award, Connecticut Business Systems number 20951, as presented by Mr. McCaffrey on behalf of Mr. Kane. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. Any questions or comments for Mr. McCaffrey on this?
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I
Mr.
have one
Testa.
question for Mr. McCaffrey, and I don't know if you can answer it, but on the third page, it says, maintenance plan costs will be billed quarterly based on the following rates: black and white copies at 0.008 cents and color copies 0.56 cents. Maybe it's a Mr. Bold question. Where does that come from? Where do we book that? If we're getting billed for it, it's the CTC, for the CTC as part of this. I just don't know, where does it live in the budget?
This would be covered through the cost of the program. There'd be money available to support the maintenance fee on that.
So it comes, is this Perkins grant funded?
This is categorical funds, which is state funds.
Okay, so it's totally contained within the categorical funds?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
1 second. Okay. Any other comments or questions for Mr. McCaffrey? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, discussion action, contract award, Barton Gilman, number 20730, as presented by Ms. Danbrook. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Backus. Any comments for the superintendent? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have discussion action, contract award, NESDEC number 20975, as presented by Ms. Danbrook. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Hazelwood. Any comments from members of the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 14, discussion action, contract award, Ford Motor Company number 21060, as presented by Mr. Oliver. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Hazelwood. Any comments from members of the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, discussion action, contract award, Tasca Automotive Group number 20996, as presented by Mr. Oliver. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Mr. Testa, seconded by Ms. Backus. Any comments?
Thank you.
Mr. Testa?
Mr. Oliver, this vehicle is a 2017, and is it a leased vehicle?
No, this vehicle is one we purchased.
It's one of our own, right? It's only got 19,000 miles on it, right? So it doesn't get a lot of use, but the use it gets is really
It's
tough.
basically used for sanding purposes and plowing during the winter. Other than that, we use it during the summer very minimally.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Backus.
Mr. Oliver, why are we not able to do this work?
Because our lift that we currently have in our automotive shop can't pick the truck up. It's too heavy for the lift, so we had to send it out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from members of the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, number 16, discussion action contract award, Power School number 20930, as presented by Ms. Ruggieri. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Testa. Any comments from members of the committee?
Mr. Chair, quick
Mr.
question.
Testa.
Ms. Ruggieri, is this what School Spring was?
Yes, Power School purchased School Spring, so it feeds into them and is an applicant management company now as well.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, number 17, discussion action, contract award, everyday speech, number 21074, as presented by Ms. Murray. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Ms. Backus, seconded by Ms. Hazelwood. Any comments from Ms. Murray? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item, number 18, discussion action, approval of teacher assistant request, as presented by Ms. Barber and Mr. Allenbach. Looking for a motion to move approval.
So moved.
Made by Ms.
Second.
Hazelwood, seconded by Ms. Backus. Any questions or comments from members of the committee?
Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
please.
Oh, Mr.
Ms. Backus.
Ms. Backus, go ahead.
Please tell us in the public what's needed and why.
Sure. So the first is a full-time one-on-one assistant needed at Cedar Hill for behavioral support. This is a student who moved into the district from another town. And the second is a one-on-one full-time TA needed at Park to support a student for behavioral and safety needs. And this position was added to their IEP.
Have other options been looked at?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from members of the committee? Mr. Testa.
Thank you. It's just more of a comment, not a question. And I don't want to be misunderstood, and I want to take pains to say I don't want to be misunderstood. In the past, I've been here for 8 years, and in the past 2 years, from the time we solidify our budget, past 2 years, I've seen an incredible amount of additional personnel added during the school year. I'm not saying it's not needed. I'm not saying that at all. But from a budgetary perspective, it wreaks havoc on a budget. And I've never denied any requests, but we have to be realistic here. And I don't know if there's a better way that's not for the school committee to determine. But I don't believe this is a sustainable course. And I don't know what the answer is. The administrators are much more capable of figuring that out than I am. I'm just saying we have to be cognizant here, because our printing press for money broke a long time ago. So I haven't found the new one yet, but we're looking. So that's all, just a comment. Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item number 19, discussion action, approval of additional staffing. I'm making a motion that we table this item, requiring additional information.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hazelwood. Any comments on the tabling? Ms. Backus.
Can we ask, no discussion?
Not on a motion to table. Any other comments on the motion to table?
I mean, I understand you want more information, but we could get that through discussion.
Yeah.
Get some information and then vote it down.
Yep. So to our colleague's point that he just made. So on the last item, there were two full-time TAs for one-to-one scenarios, both driven by IEP needs. Certainly support student needs 100%. Certainly support addressing compliant concerns, absolutely. But as Mr. Testa stated, we need to figure out what the balance is here. So right now we just approved 2 positions with item 18. Item 19 is for another additional 6 positions.
Correct.
Item number Yep. Item 19 is also affiliated with some restructuring of the facility over there. I'm not saying these positions aren't needed, but the restructuring of the facility is also going to require some interior renovation, which is going to require cost. So you've got those 6 positions. I believe when we did the math earlier today, Mr. Bull had provided me, it was roughly around $660,000, I believe, for all 8 positions. All 8 positions that are before us this evening. Now, again, not putting costs before student needs, just saying, what's the balance? So I've been very clear and transparent with the administration, saying kind of it's got to be a little give and take. You know, here are the 6 positions that we know we need for student achievement. What are 6 positions that, you know, we could maybe get rid of? Not saying that any position is disposable, but times are tough. We're already navigating a very difficult fiscal year 25 situation.
Understood.
So that's why, you know, we need additional information. This was put into the packet on Friday. More answers are needed, and I don't think that we were going to get to a point where we were all satisfied and comfortable given the current financial position between the time we got information and this meeting. So that's why I made the motion to table. Mr. Testa.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And I want to thank, Ms. Barber sent us a document late morning, early this afternoon and unfortunately I was pretty busy, but when I read it, it spurred a whole bunch of questions, and then I did reach out to her and I said, look, I'm not comfortable. I just don't know enough yet to say yes or no. It's not, but tonight, I'm not going to grill you. This isn't a congressional hearing. So I think it's better if we meet and we get a better understanding, so then we know exactly what it is we're doing. That's all. It's just a prudent thing to do, I think. Thank you.
No problem. And to that point, if we have to call a special meeting to vote on this when we get the additional information and idea of what's going on over at Welk, so that way we don't impact the student needs or compliance, we could certainly do that. But I just feel like it was the proper oversight type of thing for this committee to do. So, any other comments regarding the motion to table item 19? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And last but not least, discussion update, school committee 2024 final comments. So I would like to just take a brief minute as we gather for our last regularly scheduled meeting of 2024. I wanted to take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey these past 24 months have been. 12 months. This year brought its share of challenges, rewards, but together, this school committee, the administration, and the community, and our teachers and faculty and staff, we were able to navigate them and persevere and with purpose. I think back to our very first meeting of the year back in January, and we had the pipe burst in Gorton, in the gymnasium, followed by a week later, the roof blowing off of Tollgate, followed by 4 weeks later, the pipe burst at Tollgate, then the electrical fire at Tollgate. Then we had some issues, some sad issues in the month of March. And then April, we went into budget season, which is always fun for all of you down there, right? And then that continued on. And there's something each and every month. I mean, working with all of you and being on the school committee, it's constantly entertaining. We faced difficult financial situations, infrastructure issues, and even some wacky weather situations. But yet, despite these obstacles, our community and the administration and our staff achieved remarkable milestones. Our students made significant strides with improved performance across many schools. So especially Ms. Cousineau and Dr. Schultz and Ms. Murray and everybody else that's involved with our elementary and seeing those performances, those ratings go up. Excellent job here in 2024. Excited to see 2025. Looking forward to secondary also coming in strong here in 2025. Recognitions and honors. We celebrated numerous grants awarded to our district, highlighting our commitment to growth and innovation. We are proud to be the home of the Rhode Island Teacher of the Year, and as of tonight, the Rhode Island Elementary Art Teacher of the Year we recognize. I could probably go on for an hour about all the great achievements of our faculty and staff and administration. Our sports teams, chorus groups, bands, and artists displayed incredible promise and dedication in their respective disciplines. And the construction of our new high schools is progressing, marking a major step forward for our community's future. We're not just building 2 schools, we're building our community. These accomplishments are a testament to the hard work, talent, and resilience of our students, educators, administration, and the community members. Together, we've shown that even in the face of challenges, we can achieve extraordinary things. As we look ahead to 2025, let's carry this momentum forward, building on the successes we've achieved and continuing to grow as a district and community. I thank you all down there for your hard work here in 2024. I want to thank my colleagues for all of their hard work here in 2024. Attorney Hennius, you too, Ms. Tedeschi, and Superintendent Danbrook. So lastly, I also want to take a moment to recognize a dedicated advocate for our schools and community, Ms. Karen Backus. As this meeting marks the conclusion of her tenure on the school committee, it is only fitting that we honor her outstanding contributions and steadfast service. Ms. Backus was first elected to the school committee in 2012, and since then, she has become one of the longest-serving members in our district's history. In fact, with 12 consecutive years of service, she is not only one of the most tenured school committee members, but also one of the longest-serving elected officials in our city today. During her time on the committee, Ms. Backus has taken on numerous leadership roles, including being elected chair twice and serving as chair of several key subcommittees, such as policy, achievement, health and wellness, and finance. Through her guidance and dedication, she has been instrumental in shaping the direction of our district. Her tenure has been marked by navigating significant challenges, including the consolidation of elementary and secondary schools, as well as providing steady and thoughtful input during a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. On a personal note, as a parent, I'm particularly grateful for Ms. Backus's persistent advocacy for mandatory personal finance courses in Warwick Public Schools. Beginning her fight in 2013, her efforts culminated, excuse me, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Snecko. You know, culminated. Now it's getting dry here. Culminated in the approval of these courses in 2017, well ahead of Rhode Island's statewide mandate in 2021. Her foresight and determination have left a lasting impact on the education and future of our students. On behalf of the school committee and the school administration, both past and present, it is my honor to extend our deepest gratitude to Ms. Backus for her years of selfless service to our school district and community. Thank you for everything you have done for Warwick Public Schools, and we would ask that you join us all down front as we present you with a token of our appreciation, which memorializes your years of service on this committee. So I believe Ms. Backus wants to say a few words, and then if Ms. Backus?
I would like to thank Mr. Galligan, Superintendent Danbrook, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. McCaffrey. It's been the honor of my life to work on this committee, to fight the fights I've fought, which have been many. Perhaps the most important was protecting kids from predatory teachers back in 2024, but also to bring this district forward with the leadership that I've worked for and toward with Mr. McCaffrey since 2013. And I'm very glad to leave this committee with such a fine and dedicated leadership team and such a great team on the school committee. I wish the incoming school committee member the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll be communicating soon about some of the things going forward. And I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday season, and may God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For one last time, do you yield, Ms. Backus? Mr. Testa.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Let's see. Karen, it's been 8 years, right? We've agreed on more than we disagreed on. Things we disagreed on were pretty strong, but you kept me on my toes. You kept me sharp. So it was an honor to serve 8 years with you. You're not going anywhere, so I'm sure I'm going to see you around. So I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
You'll see me. And I would just like to add, David and I graduated the class of 1985 at Providence College. The first year that there were more women graduating than men in the history of the college.
That's why I had all daughters. It has to be the reason.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Testa. Superintendent Danbrook.
Yes, Ms. Backus, I'm going to speak from my heart. We've known each other for a long time. We've had a great working and personal relationship. You are such a strong, passionate advocate for families and for students, and you're always willing to participate, to volunteer. You show up at all the events. You have been such an asset to the Warwick School Department, and I'm going to miss you, and I know I'll see you around. But all the accomplishments that you've made, you should be so. I'm so proud of you. So I love you, and I'll miss you.
Thank you. And I'm so proud of you. And this whole team, you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you, Superintendent. With that, any other comments on that agenda item? Okay.
I would like to say something.
Ms. Hazelwood.
And I'll speak into the mic so I don't get in trouble. I've known Karen for a very long time, and no one has fought as hard for kids as Karen. She has put her gloves on when it came to that, when it came to making sure she would fight hard to keep things in the classroom as much as possible. I've watched her sit here when everybody else left and listen to everyone that stayed. You did a lot. You did a lot. And what you've done will not be forgotten. I look forward to seeing you all the time going forward. But you have done a lot for this district, and I appreciate you wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Okay. We are now on to public comment. Individual comments will be respectfully limited to 3 minutes per person, with public comment not to exceed 45 minutes. Though the content of comments will not be restricted, it is the hope of this committee that citizens, committee members, and the administration alike will be respectful of each other's right to speak, tolerant of different points of view, and mindful of everyone's time. This public comment period is for general comments or concerns. Speakers are asked to state their name for a record. This whole night is culminated into Ms. Necco ending 2024. There you go.
Darlene Necco. I only get 3 minutes, so I can't go into great detail, but I would like to thank Ms. Bacchus for all of her work over the last 12 years. And we have agreed more than we have disagreed. I want to point out that in all those years, Ms. Bacchus never voted for a layoff. In fact, when a previous administration got rid of elementary guidance, got rid of elementary science, two very worthwhile programs that we had in our elementary schools, Warwick was on the forefront of having science going back to the 60s and, response to Sputnik and the Russians and all of that. Warwick was on the vanguard, and a previous administration decided to get rid of that, decided to get rid of elementary guidance. But Ms. Bacchus did what she could. Unfortunately, at that period of time, she was alone. I know Mr. Testa also tried to keep guidance when that came up. But unfortunately, they were not in the majority. Over the years, she has fought for students, and she has fought for what was best for the classroom, for teachers for the most part over all those years. And so, I thank her for all of her service. Those were wonderful statements that Mr. Galligan made on her behalf. I think it captured much of what made Ms. Bacchus's time on the school committee significant. And I know she's not going anywhere, so she'll still be around and in a different capacity, but who knows, she may be back. You never know. And so thank you to Ms. Bacchus. Thank you to all the members of the school committee tonight that looked so carefully at those plans that are going forward. We need those new schools. In January, I guess I'll save some of my commentary about that curriculum letter that came out recently. I've been receiving a lot of comments about. I will maybe speak to some administration on the side about that, but Happy New Year to everybody, happy holidays to everybody, and let's keep moving this district forward. We have outstanding educators in this district, and we are moving ahead and we are moving forward, and I think the results show it. And so the naysayers can say what they want, but we're here and we know how great we and the kids are doing. And congratulations to Scott Elementary too. Just the first of many of our schools to receive such recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Necco. Are there any other members of?
I'm sorry, I just pulled a Councilman Ward 4 thing out there. If anybody you know it, you know it. But Karen, as the baseball coach at Warwick Vets, the last 3 years we've done fundraiser. I don't even have to ask, and you drop a check off at the office. It's just amazing that you do that, and it's not from campaign funds. It's your personal account, and I appreciate that, and you're welcome at the baseball games whenever you can get out there. We love to see you out there. You've been a great supporter, so we are welcome anytime, and I'll give you a front row seat. Second of all is, I don't know if I'm going to be out of line for talking about something that was on the agenda when I should have talked about it when it was before, but baseball and softball fields without water ain't going to happen. Can't happen. They're going to end up with fields that are dry, dust all over the place. We need to have an irrigation system. They need it. If you're not going to do it, you might as well just not build the baseball and softball field and just have everybody over here. It's sad that we're doing something that is a once in a lifetime chance, and we're not thinking, well, maybe some of us are, but we need to have the top-notch facility. The kids will not stay for a brand new school. Athletes will go other places where fields are turf, fields have lights, fields have stands where they can fit whatever amount of people, not separated by a band or two bands. What are you going to do when East Greenwich comes here, or Classical comes here for a football game? You're going to have fans in the stands going at it, and you're going to be a security problem. It's going to be a security problem. Because from what I've seen, going to the football games, a couple of instances has happened. We don't have police officers here at the games, so we cut that out. When I was going to school, police officers were always at the games, at least one, just to keep, a sight. But if we're going to do this, we got to do it right. Otherwise, scrap it, go back to the drawing board, and go back to the people. I hate to say that. I've spoken against doing that. But if we're not going to get what we need for the future, we talk about future education, whatever that word is.
30 seconds.
We got to do it also for the athletics. Athletics is always the thing that gets cut. Every time you guys need money, athletics gets cut. Basketball hoops in Warwick Vets Gymnasium, been here since the school was built. All bent, kids playing basketball on bent rims and bent backboards. It's crazy. If we're not going to do it right, don't do it.
Thank you, Mr. Rainey. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment? Mr. Iafredi? No? Jacob? No? Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment? Any other members of the public wishing to comment? Seeing none. Future meetings. Health and Wellness Subcommittee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, December 17th, 2024 at 3 p.m. The next fiscal subcommittee meeting is to be determined. Policy Subcommittee meeting Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, 4:30 p.m. The next Warwick School Building Committee meeting Wednesday, January 8th, 2025, 7:30 a.m. The next monthly school committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. The next WESAC meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. There is one tomorrow, as you all know, at 6 p.m. as it was presented earlier. In closing here, I want to thank Sean and Bruce. The setup here, excellent. I got to see all of my colleagues and figure out who was talking and when, so thank you guys very much for that. And given that this is the last meeting of the year, I want to wish everyone a happy, safe holiday season. I would be looking for a motion to adjourn. Made by Ms. Backus, seconded by Mr. Testa. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? There it is. We are adjourned.